Good morning, everybody. I wanted to do a fast update. I had to do a reaction to Red Dawn Daily on YouTube. She is hysterical. You've got to watch this. This is too funny. You know how people have been being activists for Gaza and they got to stop the siege on Gaza and this and that and the other? And they're going to march to Gaza and all this other funny stuff. Well, guess what, guys? In other countries, they don't care about your laws in America. And these guys FO'd big time.
In Egypt, what they could do in America.
Shout out to Red Dawn Daily on YouTube. Check her out.
For the global march to Gaza, from Cairo to Gaza, we made it past one checkpoint, and the second military checkpoint did not make it past. They started stopping everybody and taking their passports, and
because guess what? Not every country has an open border. As a matter of fact, no other country has an open border. And when you enter an active war zone, bad things could happen. Useful idiots. Too funny.
that should rightfully show up even though we are peaceful.
Just let them in. It will be hilarious when the other side uses them as human shields.
Well, I've come to sightsee. It's my first time here.
You didn't come to sightsee. You came to be an activist and maybe do a little sightseeing on the side. Because why would you go with a bunch of global people who are doing a global activist? Yeah, nice try.
And I want to see Egypt, and I'm not being allowed to do that, which it's very oppressive.
Well, guess what? Some countries are oppressive.
Well, going to Egypt was not a good idea. Maybe you should have visited Iran, Iraq, and Lebanon.
Everyone on the global march to Gaza in Egypt. We were stopped at a checkpoint. They took our passports. They detained us. I'm going to show you. They put us in a barrier like animals.
Because guess what? In some countries, if you break into their country illegally, they don't care. And that's, you guys act like you were doing absolutely nothing wrong. In America, you might have been doing absolutely nothing wrong. But when you go to a foreign land, especially one that is an active war zone, there are wars and skirmishes all over the Middle East going on right now. If you think that their policies at their borders are just going to be, oh yeah, go ahead, go on by, y'all are crazy. And you FO'd.
Look how they've locked us in. They've locked us all in. These are all activists. These are all people. We are.
Oh, by the way, these are the same people that would need Donald Trump to save them.
From multiple countries, and they brought the army, they brought armed cars. They are going to take us back to the airport to deport us. We have done nothing wrong.
You entered an active war zone without permission of that government. It's not America. Their laws are different than ours. And our laws don't matter over there. Our Constitution means nothing to them. Your rights as an American citizen mean nothing to them. Maybe people need to start realizing that.
Please charge the police and push your way to the border. I'm sure that passionate action will convince the Egyptian government to give you all you demand.
You're supposed to respect our country and our laws. Okay? You can do it in America. What are you doing here?
That is too funny. He said that funny. He was like, we can do it in America. Why can't we do it here? Because, sweetie, you're not in America. You're in Egypt.
That guy really just said we can do it in America. Why can't we do it here? here.
We can do it in a okay. You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
Mhm.
Idiots facing the harsh realities of the Middle East. Keep protesting, but film it all and post it. It's the best comedy in a while.
It is really.
Citizens and many others have been detained, went missing for hours
And guess what? We don't care.
and hours, and were deported from Egypt over the weekend. So,
Guess what? Egypt has the right to deport people out of their country. There's nothing we can do about that. Shocking.
remain in custody, all because they dared to try to peacefully march to the Rafah crossing to break it.
Guess what? When you say they try to peacefully march to break the siege, you're really? That whole sentence is an oxymoron. How are you going to peacefully break a siege? Yeah, really? Who raised you? Seriously, because that person needs to have said to you at some point, common sense is a thing, get some.
Israel siege on Gaza and save lives.
The level of stupidity and entitlement in this movement. The illegal siege must be broken while they commit an illegal siege at the Egyptian border. Then they get kicked out by the Egyptians and cry about their home country's civil rights being violated on social media.
Oh, sorry, ad. But it is too funny to me. I had to share this because it is hysterical.
Back and forth with the Canadian physician who is there. I also communicated with Canada's Global Affairs Department, and I'm going to fill you in on what has been happening here. Because sadly, the marchers had to cancel their plans to head to the Rafah crossing.
Shocking. They won't let you enter an active war zone.
Despite communicating to Egyptian authorities that they no longer movement's full compliance
Sorry.
with Egyptian law. Participants in the march are reportedly being arrested in the streets and their hotels simply for being part of this peaceful movement. All because, once again, they dare to march to the Rafah crossing to break Israel's siege on Gaza. Now, as I mentioned, over the weekend,
Other countries don't care about your civil rights. Other countries don't care about the U.S.'s Constitution. The sense of entitlement is right. Whoever put that post was 100% right. You think you're entitled just to do whatever you want. And guess what? It doesn't work that way because other places have laws. And you cannot enter another country without their permission and violate their laws. They don't care if you're wanting to break the siege in Gaza. They have their laws for reasons. And you guys screwed around and you found out big time because, and I can't say it because of YouTube guidelines, but you guys know what I'm saying because guess what? Who cares? You don't go to another country, demand they treat you with the dignity and respect that you would get in America, and then blast them on social media for not doing so? You want our government to step in? What exactly do you want by saying this? Because you went to a foreign land and you broke their laws. Even if you don't think you broke anything, guess what? Are you a lawyer from their country? You don't know what their immigration laws are. You don't know what their border policies are. You don't know what their laws in general are. You cannot possibly say you did nothing wrong because by America's standards, you did nothing wrong. But by Gaza's, Egypt's, and everywhere else over there's laws, you don't know that. You're assuming you did nothing wrong.
The physician Peng Ji kept me posted on what was going on. First, they left for the march, but when they tried to pass from Cairo to Ismailia, People had their passports taken. Epeng sent me these images, pictures of passports piled on the ground.
Excellent. Keep going. You're basically in California, but everybody speaks Arabic, right? You should be able to scream and shout and defy authority indefinitely, right? The First Amendment guarantees your safety. Maybe start throwing things at the soldiers. They'll hate that. These people have no sense of self-preservation whatsoever. Where do they think they are? Everybody is not playing with you. You cannot go just any old place acting a fool and then not expect consequences. And I'll tell you what, Egypt is one of those places. I am not laughing at the cause. I am a very anti-war person. I don't want to see hostages on either side or innocent people dying on either side. I'm very much pro-peace. This is not commentary on whose side is just or correct. My commentary is about how dumb you have to be to show up in Egypt thinking that you can just act any old type of way. And I'm shocked that they are shocked that they got attacked. If you want to go somewhere, protest, put your body on the line, that is your prerogative. And I'd say, hey, more power to you. That's how things got done in the civil rights movement in the 60s and even earlier than that over here in America. But those people knew what they were doing. They knew that they were going into hostile territory. They knew that they were putting themselves on the line. They knew that they were going to be attacked. These people not knowing that ahead of time is astounding. And especially the women. I cannot recommend strongly enough against.
This is the part that I love. These women, and I've made posts on this. Y'all are too funny because you do not know. You over there, they don't give a flying flip if you are an activist from America or not. To them, if you are female, you are nothing. You are less than nothing. And I've said this. And people do not believe certain posts, or they think they know better because they're young and they're silly. But guess what?
Women going to Egypt of all places to do this kind of stuff. Because I, for one, cannot forget what happened to Lara Logan in Cairo. Hundreds of men got her. Hundreds.
They do not care about our laws or your rights over in a foreign land. You go over there and you do silly crap like you do here, you will get locked up and thrown out of the country, just like I said you would. And when you FA, when you screw around, you will find out the hard way. I made a post on this very thing a couple of months back because this isn't the first people this happened to. Remember Greta Thunberg? I don't remember her name. Anyway, point is that she went over with her little group and she got caught. That's what I'm saying. People are so silly. Find out the laws for that country. Because, and it goes for immigration too, because you cannot, I cannot stress this enough. All countries have border policies. All countries have border laws as well. And no, policies, laws, and all that stuff, that's all. Each country have border policies. They have border laws. And then they have all that stuff. There are some countries where you cross their border, regardless if you did so legally or not. If they don't want you there, jail would be a pleasant place to be compared to what they would do. That's the point. You guys do not understand. And then you want our government to what? Step in and do something? No. Our government is not going to cause a war with another country over your dumb asses. Not going to happen. Because there is absolutely no reason for it. And you shouldn't have been going over there, regardless. You want to protest peacefully? That's why you're in America. That gave you the right as an American citizen. As an American citizen, not as an illegal immigrant. Because all these illegal immigrants who have been protesting, guess what? All you're doing is making it right and easy for ICE to pick you up. And as you can see, no country likes people in their country illegally. No country does. But that's not what this is. This is just too funny because it's every time people do this, they get caught and they wonder why.
Didn't make it. So you want to show up to Egypt uncovered and piss people off and demonstrate and think that you're going to just come out okay? These people have lost their dang minds.
Today, thousands of activists from all over the world, they attempted to march in Gaza in an effort to highlight the need for humanitarian aid, but they never made it. Egyptian police detained several participants once they tried to assemble. This was just outside of Cairo. Arlington native David Fleeg joined the march and says he watched as several people from his group were detained. He actually spoke with our Jericho Tran about what he saw. And this story is all new for you tonight at 11.
Oops, ad. But that is the point, is people think that you can just go anywhere you want and do whatever you want. And that's not the way it is.
Courts detained them. Some people were able to get through and made it there, and they were beaten by Egyptian police before they were rounded up onto buses, and they are currently at a location that we do not know.
The police is having a crackdown on us.
Arlington, Massachusetts native David Fleig found himself in the midst of danger after a failed attempt to reach the Rafah border from Cairo, Egypt during the global march to Gaza.
The American delegation of which I was a part, it's unclear exactly what happened, but we had somewhat of a collapse of our leadership and communication structure, and were told that we should all return to Cairo.
Thousands from around the world participated.
Maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe you shouldn't have done it to begin with. Maybe if you do something like that, you make sure your government, who would normally help you do something like this, to make sure that you're able to do something like this and not have something like that happen to you. See what I mean?
In the march to try and encourage the Egyptian government to allow humanitarian aid across the Rafah border into Gaza. Now, those who are detained are taking to social media to call for help.
I think the very idea of us doing anything to highlight what was being done to the Palestinian people was not acceptable to them.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
They thought Western norms would protect them. Now they're shocked the world plays by different rules. Try understanding a place before expecting a warm welcome.
Fleig was able to make it back safely to Cairo, but remains uncertain about his plans moving forward.
Egypt is just arresting people. Anybody with a backpack, they're getting detained.
Guess what? Because Egypt plays by different rules.
You know, like what that means.
This as Fleig's wife Lauren and their 2 children anxiously wait for his return.
He's not been detained, but I do worry about what's going to happen at the airport, and I'm concerned.
I do have sympathy for those people. I do. But you cannot think as a grown adult that it's wise, smart, or anything else to just storm another country without any knowledge of what that country would welcome you like. Because then guess what happens? Stuff like this. And I'm not saying it's right or anything like that. Don't get it twisted. I don't want to get it political. I just thought it was a funny little story because it's freaking hysterical that if you screw around, these activists think they can do whatever they want, wherever they want, and without any type of consequences. And guess what? It doesn't work that way. Because it might have worked that way in America, but it doesn't work that way in other countries. They don't care about your laws. They don't care about our customs. They definitely don't care about your rights as an American citizen or otherwise.
about the well-being of everybody else who was on this very important and peaceful action.
I've heard Egyptian prisons are lovely this time of year. You can use my buy me a coffee link to buy Leroy a dog treat.
Yeah, get Leroy a dog treat. Leroy is so cute. I absolutely love Leroy.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Red Dawn Daily with your host, me, Domer.
Don't forget, check her out, Red Dawn Daily on YouTube. Like and subscribe. She is awesome. And yeah, shout out to her. And don't forget, like and subscribe my channel for more. But yeah, guys, to all the activists out there, you need to keep that in mind. Because guess what? You cannot just go to another country and storm their borders like you would in America in the past 4 years or so and think that there aren't any consequences, because there definitely are, as you saw. Anyway, like and subscribe for more, and I'll catch you guys later with more updates on the nonsense throughout the world. Peace.